Welcome back, true alien fans, to another paranormal probe into the unexplained.
Oh, this is a good one.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm Adrian Smith, and joining me is Julia Jones,
Hi, everyone.
our expert guide through the twists and turns of today's case.
Buckle up, folks.
Get ready for a story that blends sci-fi mystery, psychological thriller, and alien intrigue all into one.
Yeah, you got all that in this one.
It's called the Ariel case.
And it's a wild ride.
Believe me, it's a wild ride.
It certainly is.
It really makes you think about the nature of reality,
It does.
the weight of belief,
Yeah.
and what happens when those lines start to blur.
Yeah, and that whole idea of what is real, what is not real is really at the heart of this story.
Okay, so let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
Our story centers around Sarah, a woman haunted by visions of global catastrophe.
Yeah, plagued by these visions.
But these visions aren't random.
No, they're not.
They're connected to a childhood UFO encounter that still affects her to this day.
Right, and just to add another layer to Sarah's story,
Perfect.
there's more. She's dealing with a very recent trauma.
Okay.
Her daughter Maya was injured in what seems like a freak playground accident.
Oh, that's terrible.
It is. And while at the hospital with Maya, Sarah experiences these disturbing premonitions.
Oh.
She sees Maya hurtling through the air,
Oh, my.
a vision that mirrors the accident that just happened.
So is this a sign that Sarah has psychic abilities?
Maybe.
Did she somehow know her daughter was going to get hurt?
Well, that's the question that the story wants us to grapple with,
Right.
It doesn't give us easy answers, and I think that's what makes it so compelling.
Keeps us on the edge of our seats.
It does. It invites us to consider the possibilities.
I like that.
Now, as Sarah struggles with these visions, we learn more about the Ariel incident.
Okay.
This was a famous UFO sighting that happened when Sarah was a child.
Right, the girl who saw aliens.
That's her.
I remember seeing the old news footage. It was a pretty big deal at the time.
Huge. It was. And that label, the girl who saw aliens, really stuck with Sarah,
Oh, yeah, I bet.
It shaped her life in ways she probably never imagined.
Yeah.
And now, years later, the anniversary coverage of the Ariel incident seems to have triggered something in her.
Oh.
Her visions are becoming more frequent, more intense,
Wow.
and they all seem to point towards a global disaster of some kind.
So what kind of visions are we talking about exactly?
They're terrifying glimpses of destruction, chaos, entire cities crumbling.
Oh, my gosh.
And there's this recurring symbol that keeps popping up in these visions.
Okay.
A jagged circle with 3 arrows cutting through it.
Okay.
This symbol becomes a crucial element in the story, like a clue or a warning.
You're giving me goosebumps.
It is creepy, right?
So does this symbol actually have any meaning?
Well, that's one of the central mysteries we unpack as the story goes on. But hold on, because here's where it gets even more interesting. We're introduced to Thomas,
Okay.
another person who experienced the Ariel incident. He reaches out to Sarah because he's having these disturbing visions, too.
So it wasn't just Sarah.
Yeah.
It seems like whatever happened that day affected others as well.
Absolutely. And what's really intriguing is that Thomas believes that he and Sarah are being guided by forces connected to the Ariel incident,
Whoa.
that they have a role to play in preventing the catastrophe they're seeing.
That's getting intense. So what do they do?
Well, Thomas convinces Sarah to meet him at an abandoned power station just outside of town. And guess what they find there?
Don't tell me the symbol.
The symbol, the jagged circle with the arrows painted on one of the power station walls.
Oh, my gosh.
It's as if their visions are bleeding into reality.
Okay, this is officially creeping me out.
I know, right? It gets even creepier.
Yeah.
Remember Caleb Ross, also known as the Old Man?
Oh, yeah, the hermit who lives on the hill.
That's him. He's another piece of this puzzle.
Okay.
Caleb claims to be hearing voices, and he believes they're connected to these events.
We have Sarah with her visions.
Yes.
Thomas with his visions. And now Caleb with voices.
Uh-huh.
It's like something straight out of the X-Files.
It really does have that vibe.
Yeah.
And that's not even the most chilling part.
Oh, there's more?
While at the power station,
Oh.
Sarah and Thomas have a truly unsettling encounter.
Okay.
They come face to face with an entity.
What?
A shadowy figure with an eerie, distorted voice.
Wait, they actually saw something? Like a real alien being?
Well, the story doesn't outright say it's an alien, but the way this entity is described is definitely otherworldly.
Okay.
It's incredibly tall, shrouded in darkness, and its voice is said to be completely unnatural and unsettling.
Right, now I'm really freaked out.
Yeah, it's creepy stuff.
What happens next?
Well, during this encounter, something truly bizarre happens.
Oh, no.
Thomas just vanishes, disappears right before Sarah's eyes.
What?
And then another mysterious figure, someone who calls himself Red,
Right.
enters the picture.
Okay.
He seems to understand what's going on and takes Sarah under his wing.
Hold on. So now we have a missing person. A creepy entity.
Yeah.
A mysterious guide named Red.
Uh-huh.
This is getting more and more complicated.
It is.
What does Red know about all of this?
That's a great question, Adrian, and one we'll explore as we continue our paranormal probe into the Ariel case.
Okay.
But before we do, I want to leave you with something to think about.
Okay.
If these visions are real, if they're warnings of some kind,
Right.
then what does that say about our place in the universe?
Whoa.
Are we just pawns in a cosmic game we don't even understand?
That's a chilling thought, Julia. And on that note, we'll be back in a moment to delve deeper into the mysteries of the Ariel case.
Stay with us. Welcome back to the True Alien Podcast, everyone. We're in the thick of the Ariel case, and things are about to get even stranger. Before we left off, Sarah had just experienced a terrifying encounter at the abandoned power station.
Yeah.
Her friend Thomas had vanished,
Right.
and a new character named Red had appeared.
Yeah, that Red character definitely left me with a lot of questions.
A lot of questions.
He seems like he knows more than he's letting on.
Right.
Who is he and what's his connection to all of this?
Well, the story keeps his full backstory shrouded in mystery,
Okay.
which I think adds to his enigmatic persona.
Sure.
What we do learn is that Red has been following the events surrounding the Ariel incident for quite some time. He seems to have a network of contacts,
Oh.
people who are aware of these strange happenings and the potential threat that's building.
This is like a secret society of people in the know about the alien stuff. Sort of like the Men in Black, but maybe not as stylish.
Huh. That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
Red introduces Sarah to this network, and she quickly realizes that she's not alone in her experiences.
Oh, wow.
There are others who have had similar encounters who are haunted by visions and who believe that something big is on the horizon.
It's almost like a support group,
Yeah.
but for people who have seen things that most people would dismiss as crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that sense of community, of finding others who believe you, is crucial for Sarah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Remember, she's been carrying the weight of her childhood UFO sighting for years.
Right.
And it's isolated her in many ways.
Right, because who do you talk to about seeing aliens without sounding like you've lost your mind?
Precisely. But with Red and this network, Sarah finally has a place where she can share her experiences without judgment.
That's good.
So what does this group do?
Yeah, what do they do?
Do they have a plan to stop whatever is coming?
Yeah.
Well, it's less of a concrete plan and more of a desperate attempt to understand what they're up against.
Oh, okay.
They share information, compare their experiences, and try to piece together the meaning behind the visions and symbols that keep appearing.
You know, it's fascinating that the story centers on these everyday people.
Yeah.
It's not some government agency or a team of scientists. It's ordinary individuals grappling with an extraordinary situation.
I agree. I think that's one of the things that makes the Ariel case so compelling.
Right.
It's a story about how these incredible events impact regular people, forcing them to confront the unknown and find strength in each other.
Yeah, I like that.
So what about the visions?
Yeah. Do they offer any clues about what Sarah and the others are facing?
The visions continue to plague Sarah, but they begin to change.
Uh-oh, how so?
They become more vivid, more detailed, and they start to bleed into her everyday life. The line between reality and her visions blurs.
Whoa, that sounds intense.
Yeah.
It's like she's hallucinating, but these hallucinations are somehow connected to something real.
That's the unsettling implication. It raises questions about the very nature of reality and what we perceive as real versus what might be another dimension or plane of existence.
Okay, now my brain is starting to hurt.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in.
So what's the takeaway here? Are these visions simply a sign of Sarah losing touch with reality, or are they something more?
That's the question at the heart of the story, Adrian, and it's one that I think each reader or listener has to answer for themselves. But here's what's fascinating to me. The visions, whether real or imagined, profoundly impact Sarah's choices and actions. They drive her to seek answers, connect with others, and ultimately confront the forces that threaten her world. And this leads us to the climax of the Ariel case.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What happens?
Well, I don't want to give away the ending, but let's just say that Sarah and her newfound allies find themselves in a desperate battle against something they can barely comprehend. They realize that the future they're fighting for hasn't been prevented but altered.
So they could have stopped it.
The war, as they call it, rages on, and Sarah is caught right in the middle.
Whoa, so even with all their efforts, they couldn't stop the bad stuff from happening?
It appears that way, but there's a glimmer of hope, too.
Okay.
Even though they couldn't prevent this altered future from unfolding, they've made a difference. They've changed things.
Okay.
And Sarah, well, she's no longer the frightened girl from the Ariel incident. She's a warrior survivor, and she's determined to keep fighting for a better future no matter how impossible it seems.
Wow, this is some heavy stuff.
It is.
This entire case is a real mind bender.
It really is. So what are your overall thoughts on the story? What resonated with you the most?
What strikes me is how the Ariel case blends elements of alien contact, government secrecy, and the power of belief. It's a story that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the world and our place in it. And on a deeper level, it explores the psychological impact of these experiences on individuals like Sarah and Thomas.
Right.
They're forced to confront their sanity, their deepest fears, and the possibility that everything they believe might be a lie.
Absolutely. That's a lot to process. Makes you wonder if maybe ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Perhaps. But I think the Ariel case also reminds us that even when facing the unknown, even when we feel powerless, there's strength in confronting our fears and seeking truth, no matter how unsettling it may be.
Very well said. I have to admit this case is giving me chills.
Me too.
It reminds us that there might be things out there beyond our understanding, and that's both terrifying and exhilarating.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to hear from you, our listeners.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Ariel case? What theories do you have about the symbol, the entity, or the fate of Thomas and Caleb Ross? Head over to our social media pages and share your thoughts. We might even feature your comments on our next episode.
Yes, we'd love to hear your perspectives. And remember, the truth is out there somewhere.
And it just might be stranger than we can imagine. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the True Alien Podcast.
See you next time.
Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your minds open to the possibilities. And as always, stay curious. Welcome back to the True Alien Podcast, folks. We're wrapping up our paranormal probe into the Ariel case, and this story has definitely taken us on a wild ride through some seriously strange territory.
It really has. We've gone from a playground accident to chilling visions, a mysterious UFO citing a shadowy entity, and now a group of ordinary people battling an extraordinary threat.
Yeah, and we can't forget the missing persons, the cryptic symbols, and that unsettling feeling that reality itself is starting to unravel. It's enough to make anyone question their sanity.
Absolutely. The Ariel case really plays with our perception of what's real and what's not. It makes us wonder if there are forces at play beyond our understanding, shaping our lives in ways we can't even fathom.
So where do we go from here? What are the key takeaways from this mind-bending journey?
Well, one of the most prominent themes for me is the idea of human resilience. Despite the fear, the uncertainty, and those overwhelming odds, Sarah and the others refuse to give up.
Right.
They choose to fight back, to resist, even when it seems like all hope is lost.
That's a powerful message. It's like saying that even in the face of the unknown, we have the power to choose how we react.
Exactly.
We can either cower in fear or rise to the challenge.
And the Ariel case also highlights the importance of connection, of finding community and support when we're faced with the inexplicable.
Makes sense.
Sarah's journey demonstrates that we don't have to go through these experiences alone.
Right.
There are others out there who understand, who believe, and who can offer guidance and strength along the way.
That's a comforting thought in a world that can often feel increasingly isolating and strange. But speaking of strange, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. Or maybe I should say the alien in the cornfield.
Uh-huh.
What about the extraterrestrial element in all of this?
Ah, yes. The million-dollar question, the Ariel case, never explicitly confirms or denies the existence of aliens. It leaves room for interpretation, allowing each reader or listener to draw their own conclusions.
Which I love.
Yeah.
It keeps the mystery alive and fuels those late-night discussions with friends about whether we're truly alone in the universe.
Precisely. And I think that's one of the most captivating aspects of this story.
Ah.
It doesn't offer easy answers. It challenges us to think critically, to question our assumptions, and to entertain the possibility that the truth might be far stranger than fiction.
You know, one thing that really stuck with me was that symbol, the jagged circle with the 3 arrows. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it holds any symbolic significance?
That's a great question. I think it's open to interpretation. Some might view it as a warning, a sign of impending doom. Others might interpret it as a representation of the interconnectedness of everything.
Right.
The notion that the past, present, and future are all intertwined.
That's pretty deep. I'm going to need a moment to ponder that one. But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question. What if these visions, these strange occurrences, aren't just random events?
Okay, I like this.
What if they're threads in a larger tapestry, a cosmic design that we're only just beginning to glimpse? The answers we seek lie not in the realm of science or logic, but in the realm of the unknown, the unexplainable, the truly alien.
That's a chilling thought, and one that I'm sure will linger with our listeners long after this episode ends. It reminds us that there are still mysteries out there waiting to be explored, secrets that challenge our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
And on that note, we've come to the end of our paranormal probe into the Ariel case. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. We want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Share your thoughts, theories, and even your own encounters with the strange and unexplained on our social media pages.
And remember, the truth is out there waiting to be discovered. Keep searching, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep your minds open to the possibilities.
Thanks for tuning in to the True Alien Podcast. Until next time, stay curious, folks, and never stop exploring the mysteries of the universe.